The human just wanted water, but the alien cashier offered him something else. Bax strode into the cosmic mart, the automatic doors swishing closed behind him with a pneumatic hiss. The cool, recycled air was a welcome relief from the twin suns beating down on the dusty streets of Nova Centauri. All he wanted was to grab some water and escape back to his apartment for a much-needed midday nap. As he made his way down the gleaming aisles lined with products from 100 worlds, Bax's eye was drawn to the checkout counter. Manning the register was quite possibly the most stunning alien female he had ever laid eyes on. Fluorescent green skin, shimmering obsidian hair, elegantly tapered elfin ears. She looked like she had stepped out of the pages of a pulp sci-fi magazine. Suddenly, Bax's mouth felt even drier. He grabbed a bottle of Neptunian spring water from the cooler and approached the counter, trying to affect a casual air. The alien cashier greeted him with a dazzling smile, her opaque black eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well, hello there, handsome," she purred, her voice dripping with honey. "I haven't seen you around these parts before. New in town?" Bax fumbled with his credit chip, nearly dropping it. Yeah, I just transferred here for a contract job. Thought I'd pick up some essentials." "Oh, I bet a big, strong human like you has some very interesting essentials," she replied with a wink, dragging out the last word suggestively. Bax felt his face redden. He wasn't used to such brazen flirtation, especially not from drop-dead gorgeous aliens. The cashier scanned his water, her slender fingers dancing over the register's hull keys. "You know, I get off work in an hour. If you're interested, I could show you some of the local sites, and maybe we could grab a drink after? I know this great little meteor bar." Bax's brain short-circuited. Was this actually happening? Wow, that sounds great, actually," he managed to stammer out. "I'm Bax, by the way." "Pleasure to meet you, Bax," she cooed, her tongue caressing his name like a physical touch. "I'm Vixia. I have a feeling this could be the start of something cosmic." Their fingers brushed as she handed Bax his receipt, sending an electric tingle up his spine. Shell-shocked, he mumbled a goodbye and started to walk away in a daze. "See you in an hour, space cowboy," Vixia called after him playfully. "And don't you dare be late." Bax stumbled out into the harsh alien sunlight, his head spinning. What had started as a simple grocery run had suddenly turned into the most unexpected adventure of his life. He had an hour to make himself presentable for drinks with the foxiest alien vixen this side of Alpha Centauri. His heart hammered with exhilaration and nervousness as he hurried back to his small flat in the human quarter. Bax couldn't believe his luck, or the sheer magnetism of Vixia. He felt drawn to her, like a comet caught in the irresistible pull of a supermassive black hole. There was something about her, beyond the exotic beauty and shameless sensuality, a glimmer of mischief and mystery in those onyx eyes that promised excitement, danger, a journey into the unknown. Bax barely noticed his Spartan surroundings as he got ready in a haze, picking out his best neo-leather jacket and boots. His mind was filled with emerald skin and obsidian tresses. He had no idea what the night would bring, but he knew he was powerless to resist Vixia's pull. The rational part of his mind whispered that he should be cautious, that interspecies liaisons could be perilous. But Bax's heart and body were already too far gone, intoxicated by the thrill of the forbidden. As he spritzed on some pheromone cologne, Bax grinned at his reflection in the Duraplast mirror. "Looks like I'm about to boldly go where no man has gone before," he joked under his breath. "Let's just hope this cosmic encounter doesn't leave me seeing stars." With a deep breath and a final rakish tussle of his hair, Bax strode out to meet his destiny, and the bewitching alien temptress who had ensnared him so thoroughly. Nova Centauri's twin suns were setting, bathing the city in a lurid red glow as he made his way back to the cosmic mart. It felt all too appropriate, Bax mused wryly, like a cosmic omen of the passion and peril that surely awaited him. Vixia was outside the mart, leaning provocatively against a grav bike painted in a swirling psychedelic pattern. Her skin-tight iridescent bodysuit left little to the imagination, and Bax had to force his gaze upwards to her heart-shaped face. She smirked knowingly at him, clearly enjoying the effect she was having. "Hey there, Space Ranger," Vixia drawled, tossing him a spare helmet with lithe grace. "Ready to take a ride on the wild side?" Bax caught the helmet, adrenaline already crackling through his system. He grinned back at her, determined to match her brazen charm. "With a beauty like you, I'd ride anywhere, anytime." Vixia laughed musically, slinging a leg over the grav bike. I do like a man who knows what he wants," she purred. "Now hop on and hold tight. I'll show you some real speed." Pulse pounding, Bax straddled the bike behind Vixia, the firm curves of her body molding against him as he wrapped his arms around her narrow waist. She gunned the engine and they took off into the balmy night, the city lights blurring into a neon kaleidoscope around them. Vixia wove through the traffic with reckless abandon, Bax's heart in his throat as they narrowly dodged hover trucks and shuttle cabs. The exotic scent of her hair taunted his nostrils, and he could feel the heat building between their bodies, only partially from the grav bike's fusion drive. Finally, they screeched to a halt in front of a seedy-looking bar built into the skeleton of an old freighter. A flickering hollow sign proclaimed it the Crashdown. "Here we are, my favorite dive in the quadrant," Vixia announced as she killed the ignition and sinuously dismounted. "I hope you're ready for some stiff drinks and stimulating conversation." The sultry invitation in her obsidian eyes made Bax's blood run hot as he followed her curvy silhouette into the bar, the thrumming electronic beat of alien music washing over them. Oh, he was ready for anything this cosmic temptress had to offer. The night was young and the stars were bright, and Bax had a feeling that before the suns rose again, his world would be forever rocked. Little did he suspect just how wild and dangerous this close encounter of the intimate kind would turn out to be. The Crashdown's interior was a chaotic riot of clashing colors and species, the air thick with exotic smoke and pheromones. Vixia navigated the crowd with sinuous grace, her hips swaying hypnotically. Bax followed close behind, mesmerized by her movements and the tantalizing glimpses of emerald skin. They reached the bar, a cephalopod-like alien with tentacles, mixing drinks with dizzying speed. Vixia leaned over the counter, her bodysuit riding up to reveal even more of her toned thighs. "2 Venusian volcanoes, Grizzin, and put it on my tab." The bartender burbled in acknowledgement and began pouring viscous red liquids into frosted glasses. Vixia passed one to Bax with a smoldering look. "Cheers, space stud. Let's see if you can handle your liquor as well as you handle other things." Bax took a swig and nearly choked as the fiery alcohol seared his throat. Vixia laughed, her eyes dancing with mirth and something more heated. "Too much for you, big boy," she purred, running a finger along his jaw. "I thought you humans were supposed to be tough." Rising to the challenge, Bax downed the rest of the drink in one defiant gulp. The room spun momentarily, but he managed a cocky grin. "Oh, I can handle anything you've got, sweetheart. Bring it on." Vixia bit her lip, looking him up and down hungrily. I do love a man with stamina." She set down her empty glass and grabbed his hand. "Come on, I want to show you something in the back." Pulse hammering, Bax let her lead him past the throng of carousing aliens to a dimly lit hallway. Vixia pushed him against the wall, her lithe body flush against his. Her obsidian eyes smoldered with desire as she ran her hands over his chest. "I've been thinking about this from the moment I saw you in the store," she breathed, her lips tantalizingly close to his. "The way you looked at me, like you wanted to devour me whole." Bax groaned as she nipped at his ear, his hands roaming the curves of her hips. "Can you blame me? You're the hottest thing on 2 legs in this whole damn quadrant." Vixia silenced him with a searing kiss, her serpentine tongue delving deep. Bax responded with equal fervor, losing himself in the heat and softness of her mouth. He barely registered her guiding him backwards into a storeroom until the door slammed shut behind them. Breathing heavily, they broke apart, staring at each other with raw hunger. Vixia wasted no time, quickly pushed Bax onto a crate, positioning herself above him. She leaned forward, causing Bax to let out a soft, surprised breath. "I need you, spaceman," Vixia panted, her fingers fumbling with the fastenings of his pants. "I need to feel your warmth, your presence surrounding me." Bax bucked beneath her, his brain short-circuiting with lust. "God, yes," he growled. His hands ripping at her bodysuit. "I'm going to deliver you into the next star system." Just as Vixia loosened his belt, the storeroom door burst open with a crash. They froze as 3 hulking reptilian aliens stormed in, blasters drawn. "Vixia, you scheming little slit," the lead alien snarled. "Did you really think you could ghost us like that? After all the creds you owe?" Vixia clambered off Bax, holding up her hands placatingly. "Whoa there, Skorzak, baby. No need for drama. I've got your money, I just need—" "The only thing you need is a lesson in respect," Skorzak growled, motioning to his henchman. "Grab the green bitch. We'll see how she likes a few rounds with the boys in the back." "Over my dead body!" "Oh!" Bax roared, leaping up and putting himself between Vixia and the thugs. His heart was pounding, but his stance was firm. No way in hell was he letting these scumbags lay a finger on her. Skorzak sneered, leveling his blaster at Bax's chest. "That can be arranged, mammal. Last chance to walk away." Bax met the alien's slit-pupiled gaze unflinchingly, his fists clenched at his sides. "Sorry, pal, but this mammal doesn't walk away from his mate. You want her? You go through me." For a tense moment, no one moved. A Mexican standoff between human and saurian. Then Skorzak chuckled darkly, his forked tongue flicking out. "Your funeral, ape. Waste him, boys." As the blasters whined to life, Bax braced himself, determined to shield Vixia from the coming firestorm. He only hoped his puny human frame could withstand the onslaught long enough for her to escape. Suddenly, a concussive boom rattled the room, sending everyone staggering. Smoke billowed from Skorzak's chest as he crumpled, his blaster clattering to the floor. Behind him in the doorway stood Vixia, a small holdout pistol smoking in her delicate hand. "I warned you not to fuck with me, Skorzak," she said coldly as the other two thugs gaped in shock. Quick as a flash, she put 2 more bolts between their eyes and they dropped like sacks of protein paste. Bax stared at her in awe, his heart racing and adrenaline still coursing through him. Vixia smirked, blowing smoke from the pistol barrel before tucking it away. "What?" she purred, sauntering over to him. "You didn't really think a girl could survive in a place like this without knowing how to handle herself, did you?" She pressed against him, tracing the line of his jaw. "Although I must say that was quite the chivalrous display, Space Cowboy. Standing up for little old me against those big bad lizards." Bax swallowed hard, his hands coming to rest on her hips. "I couldn't let them hurt you. I care about you, Vixia." Something softened in her onyx eyes and she leaned in, her lips brushing his ear. "Show me how much," she breathed. Then she was kissing him again, and Bax lost himself in the supernova of passion, the dead bodies and smoking blasters forgotten. All that mattered was the velvet heat of Vixia's mouth, the urgent press of her body, and the inferno raging in his veins. He wanted her, needed her more than he'd ever needed anything. As they tore at each other's clothes, all rational thought fled, replaced by pure instinct and raw desire. The storeroom became their universe, their bodies the stars colliding in the void. And as he finally sheathed himself in her molten core, Bax knew he would never be the same. Vixia had him, heart, body, and soul. He could only pray he survived the fallout of their cosmic coupling. But oh, what a way to go. Bax and Vixia's passionate moans echoed off the metal shelves of the storeroom, their bodies entwined in a frenzy of lust and need. Bax lost himself in the silken heat of her, the velvet caress of her emerald skin, the intoxicating scent of her arousal. He wanted to stay buried inside her forever, to let the supernova of their joining consume him utterly. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. A sudden pounding on the door jolted them out of their carnal reverie. They froze, still intimately connected, as a gruff voice bellowed from the other side. "Oi, I know you're in there, Vixia. Rent's due on the room, you hear? You got 5 minutes to pay up or I'm coming in. Customers or no?" "Shit," Vixia hissed, her obsidian eyes wide. "That's Grzit K, the owner. He's been riding my ass for weeks about the rent." Bax blinked, his lust-fogged brain struggling to process. "Wait, you live here? In the bar?" Vixia bit her lip, looking uncharacteristically vulnerable. I've been a little down on my luck lately. Got fired from my last job, had some debts to pay off. Grzit lets me crash in the back in exchange for some favors." Jealousy flared hot and sharp in Bax's gut at the thought of his emerald goddess servicing the crusty bar owner. He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Hey, none of that matters now," he said firmly. "You've got me, and I take care of what's mine." Something warm and wondering bloomed in Vixia's onyx eyes. She leaned forward, capturing his lips in a kiss that was achingly tender compared to the raw passion of before. "You're something else, Space Cowboy," she murmured against his mouth. "But as much as I'd love to continue this, we better make tracks before Grzit busts in and ruins the mood." Reluctantly, they disentangled, hastily tugging on clothes and straightening disheveled hair. Bax couldn't resist stealing one last deep kiss before they slipped out the door, only to come face to face with what seemed like half the bar, all wearing knowing smirks and suggestive leers. A wolf whistle pierced the air, followed by drunken chuckles. "Damn, Vixia, when you bag a human, you don't mess around," a tentacled alien hooted. "Bet he couldn't handle more than one round with a hot little number like you, though." Vixia rolled her eyes, grabbing Bax's hand and tugging him through the gauntlet of laughing patrons. Yeah, show's over, you bunch of pervs. Go back to your drinks and your own sordid little lives." They burst out of the bar into the muggy night air, the raucous catcalls of the crowd still ringing in their ears. Bax felt his face burning, but Vixia just laughed, spinning around to face him. "Well, that was mortifying," she giggled, her eyes sparkling with mirth. "But totally worth it. You, my delicious human, are quite the ride." Despite his embarrassment, Bax found himself grinning back. "You're not so bad yourself, my intoxicating alien vixen. Though I have to say, your choice of accommodations leaves something to be desired." Vixia's smile dimmed and she looked away. "Yeah, about that," she sighed, running a hand through her glossy black tresses. "I guess I owe you a bit of an explanation, and an apology for dragging you into my mess." She perched on the edge of a neon-lit fountain, patting the spot beside her. Bax sat, taking her hand and lacing their fingers together in silent support. "Those thugs back there," Vixia began quietly, "Skorzak and his goons. They weren't just random debt collectors. They were my exes." Bax's eyebrows shot up, but he remained silent, letting her continue. "I have a bit of a checkered dating history," Vixia admitted with a rueful smile. "Always going for the bad boys, the dangerous types. Guess I thought I could change them, or that the thrill was worth the risk." She shook her head. "But it never ended well. They'd use me, bleed me dry, then cast me aside when they got bored. Skorzak was the worst of the lot, controlling, possessive, quick to anger. I finally worked up the courage to leave him a few months ago, but he didn't take it well." Vixia's hand trembled in Bax's, and he squeezed it gently. "Hey, you don't have to explain yourself to me. We've all got baggage, made mistakes. God knows I'm no saint." She looked at him then, her obsidian eyes shining with unshed tears. "You're the first guy to ever stand up for me like that. To put himself on the line, no questions asked. I'm not used to that." Bax reached out, tenderly brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Get used to it, gorgeous, because I'm not going anywhere, except maybe somewhere a bit more private, so I can show you just how much you mean to me." Vixia let out a shaky laugh, nuzzling into his palm. "I think I'd like that, spaceman. Your place or mine? Fair warning, mine's a converted broom closet above the bar." Bax grinned, standing and pulling her to her feet. "My place it is. I've got a king-size anti-grav bed with Arcturian silk sheets and a shower built for two, complete with pulsating jets." Vixia raised an eyebrow, a sultry smile curving her lips. "Well then, what are we waiting for, stud? Let's go christen those sheets. And maybe that shower too, if you play your cards right." Laughing, they ran hand in hand through the neon-soaked streets, the trials and tawdriness of the night forgotten. They had each other now, two shooting stars streaking across the cosmic void. The universe had brought them together in the most unexpected of ways. Now it was up to them to defy the gravitational pull of their pasts and create a new orbit, one of love, trust, and incandescent passion. The night was still young, and the stars were still bright, and Bax and Vixia were determined to make the most of every throbbing, pulsing, ecstasy-filled moment. Bax's apartment was a welcome oasis after the seedy chaos of the crashdown. Vixia let out a low whistle as she took in the sleek, modern space, all clean lines and muted colors. "Damn, space cowboy, you've been holding out on me," she purred, running a hand along the back of the plush sofa. "A girl could get used to digs like these." Bax came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and nuzzling her neck. "Play your cards right, gorgeous, and you just might get the chance." Vixia turned in his embrace, looping her arms around his neck and giving him a sultry smile. "Oh, I always play to win, stud, and right now I'm feeling very, very lucky." Their lips met in a searing kiss, the embers of their earlier passion flaring back to life. Stumbling and groping, they made their way to Bax's bedroom, a trail of hastily discarded clothes marking their path. But when Vixia spotted the overflowing bookshelves lining one wall, she broke away with a gasp. "Holy hells, is that the complete Cosmic Passion series? With the limited edition holographic covers?" Bax blinked, his desire-fogged brain taking a moment to catch up. Yeah, I'm a bit of a collector. You know those old pulp romance novels?" Vixia was already running reverent fingers over the spines, her obsidian eyes wide with delight. "Do I ever! The throbbing tentacles of Theta Sigma Prime got me through some lonely nights back in my smuggling days." She shot him a mischievous grin over her shoulder. "I always dreamed of being ravished by a dashing space pirate like Captain Coxwell. Think you're up for a little roleplay? My strapping first mate?" Bax swallowed hard, his heart pounding at the sultry challenge in her eyes. "Aye, aye, Captain," he managed, his voice rough with need. "Ready to plunder your treasure hold and bury my sword deep." Vixia laughed low and throaty as she sashayed towards him. Ooh, listen to you with a sexy space talk. Keep that up and I might have to keel haul you. Or maybe just haul you into my bunk. She pushed him back onto the bed and straddled him, the heat of her core searing through the thin barrier of his boxers. Leaning down, she nipped at his ear, her silken hair cascading around them like an onyx waterfall. "The name's Captain Vixia Voidrider," she breathed, her voice husky with desire. "Scourge of the 7th Sector and the most feared pirate queen in the galaxy. And you, my pretty little cabin boy, are about to be boarded." Bax groaned, fully immersed in the fantasy now. "Please, Captain," he panted. "I'll do anything, just let me serve under you." Vixia grinned wickedly, her obsidian eyes glinting with mischief and lust. "Oh, you'll serve under me, all right. And on top of me, and behind me, and any other way I see fit." With that, she captured his lips in a scorching kiss, their bodies joining in the ancient dance of passion. They moved together in perfect sync, their cries of ecstasy mingling in the air. Vixia set a relentless pace, taking Bax to heights he'd never known. He could only cling to her, lost in the maelstrom of sensation. Their passion reached a fever pitch, punctuated by Vixia's filthy, space-themed pillow talk. "That's it, my strapping ensign," she panted. "Fire your photon torpedoes into my wormhole. Fill me with your hot nebula gas." Bax would have laughed at the absurdity of it all if he wasn't so insanely turned on. There was something about Vixia's uninhibited sexuality, her utter lack of shame or reservation, that drove him wild. "Fuck, Captain," he groaned. "I'm getting close to redshift. I don't know how much longer I can hold out." Vixia grinned fiercely, chasing her own supernova. "Then let go, my brave first officer. Eject your warp core into my slick docking bay. I want to feel your gamma ray burst inside me." The combination of her scorching words and the relentless squeezing of her inner muscles proved too much. With a hoarse shout, Bax surrendered to the maelstrom, Vixia following a heartbeat later. For a long, blissful moment, they clung to each other, trembling and gasping in the aftermath of their cosmic coupling. Finally, Vixia collapsed onto his chest, nuzzling into the sweat-slick hollow of his throat. Not bad for a lowly cabin boy," she purred, her voice replete with satisfaction. "I may just have to keep you around as my personal plaything." Bax chuckled breathlessly, running his fingers through her damp tresses. "Aye, aye, Captain. I live to serve in whatever capacity you require." They lay in contented silence for a time, basking in the afterglow and the unexpected joy of finding a kindred spirit. But as the sweat cooled on their skin, Vixia propped herself up on one elbow, tracing idle patterns on Bax's chest. "In all seriousness, though," she said softly, her obsidian eyes searching his, "this thing between us, it's more than just scorching hot sex and geeky roleplay, isn't it? I feel like I've found something special with you, something real." Bax's heart stuttered in his chest at the raw vulnerability in her words. He reached up, cupping her cheek tenderly. "It's real for me too, Vix," he whispered, the nickname falling naturally from his lips. "From the moment I saw you, I knew my life would never be the same. You've captured my heart as surely as any pirate queen capturing a prize." Vixia's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, a shaky smile curving her kiss-swollen lips. "Well then, I guess you're well and truly plundered, spaceman, because I'm not giving you up for all the credits in the galaxy." She sealed her vow with a kiss, sweet and deep and full of promise, and as Bax lost himself in the honeyed haven of her mouth, he knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. The universe worked in mysterious ways, but it had brought him to Vixia, and come hell, high water, or horny space pirates, he would cherish and protect the treasure he'd found in her arms. After all, what was a little cosmic craziness compared to the chance to love this miraculous, maddening, utterly irresistible alien woman? As far as Bax was concerned, she was worth braving any supernova, and he couldn't wait to see what passionate adventures the stars had in store for them next. A sudden crack of thunder jolted Bax and Vixia out of their post-coital doze. Vixia yelped, clinging to Bax as the room was plunged into darkness. "Whoa, easy there, Space Vixen," Bax chuckled, stroking her back soothingly. "It's just a little ion storm. Probably knocked out the power grid." Vixia huffed, nipping at his chest in retaliation. "I know that, smartass. You just startled me is all. I was having the most wonderful dream about you, me, and a vat of Aldebaran honey." Bax groaned, his imagination running wild at the tantalizing image. "Damn, woman, you're insatiable. I'm going to need some recovery time before we go another round, supernova or no." Vixia giggled, the sound rich and warm in the darkness. Don't worry, big boy. I'll be gentle with you. In the meantime, why don't we find some candles and play a little game to pass the time? Intrigued, Bax fumbled in the bedside drawer for the emergency glow sticks he kept there. Cracking one, he bathed the room in a soft green glow, the color reminding him of Vixia's luminous skin. What kind of game did you have in mind, Temptress? He asked, arching a brow at her. Vixia grinned impishly, the light casting playful shadows across her face. Oh, just a little something called Never Have I Ever. You humans have something similar, right? Bax laughed, shaking his head. Yeah, but it's usually more of a drinking game for horny teenagers. You sure you want to go down that road? Vixia smirked, trailing a finger down his chest. Oh, I definitely want to go down, spaceman. On you, on this game, on any depraved little secrets it might uncover. Bax shivered at the sultry promise in her voice. All right then, you minx, let's do this. But fair warning, I have a feeling we're about to learn a lot more about each other than we bargained for. Vixia just winked, settling herself more comfortably against the pillows. That's the idea, lover boy. Now I'll start. Never have I ever had sex in zero gravity. Bax kept his finger still, grinning at her surprised look. What? Did you think all us Terrans were vanilla? I've been around the galaxy a time or two, picked up some tricks along the way. Vixia licked her lips, her obsidian eyes sparking with heat. I'm going to need a demonstration of those tricks very soon. But first, your turn. Bax thought for a moment, then smirked. Never have I ever role-played as a tentacle monster during sex. To his delight, Vixia put down a finger, her cheeks darkening in a fetching purple blush. What can I say? I have a thing for appendages, and you should see what I can do with a few extra limbs at my disposal. The game continued, the questions getting naughtier, and the confessions more scandalous with each round. Bax learned that Vixia had a penchant for public sex, a fondness for edible underwear, and had once been caught in a compromising position with a planetary dignitary's prized pet. In turn, he admitted to a threesome with Venusian twins, a weakness for silk bondage ropes, and an ill-advised tryst with a sentient plant that left him with a rash in unmentionable places for weeks. By the time they ran out of glow sticks, they were both flushed and squirming with rekindled desire, the air between them thick with tension and the promise of wicked delights. Well, space stud, Vixia purred, crawling sinuously up Bax's body. I think we've established that we're both delightfully depraved creatures. What do you say we put some of that kinky knowledge to good use, Bax growled, flipping her beneath him in one smooth motion. I thought you'd never ask, my wanton alien queen. Prepare to be boarded in ways you've never experienced before. Vixia laughed breathlessly, wrapping her legs around his waist. Bring it on, my perverted Terran paramour. I'm ready for anything you can dish out. And with that, they lost themselves in a maelstrom of passion, their bodies joining and parting in an erotic dance as old as the cosmos. The darkness emboldened them, freed them to explore the depths of their desire without shame or reservation. They made love with a fierce abandon, their cries of ecstasy mingling with the howling of the iron storm outside. It was raw, primal, a communion of bodies and souls that transcended species or societal norms. In the throes of passion, Bax marveled at the incredible twists of fate that had brought him to this moment, to this miraculous woman who set his blood on fire and his heart ablaze. Vixia was a force of nature, a supernova in the flesh, and he knew he would gladly spend the rest of his life basking in the radiance of her love. As they reached the pinnacle of their pleasure, their voices raised in a chorus of completion, Bax felt a profound sense of rightness settle over him. This was where he belonged, in the arms of his alien soulmate, exploring the infinite wonders of the universe together. The storm raged on outside, but within the sanctuary of Bax's bedroom, a different kind of tempest had been unleashed. A perfect storm of love, lust, and cosmic connection that would bind them together forevermore. And as they collapsed into each other's arms, spent and sated, Bax knew that he would weather any ion storm, brave any supernova, to keep this precious bond alive. For Vixia was his guiding star, his celestial beacon, and he would follow her light to the ends of the galaxy and beyond. With a contented sigh, Bax pulled her close and surrendered to the sweet oblivion of sleep, his dreams filled with green skin, black holes, and the infinite possibilities of a life lived in the passionate embrace of the cosmos. Bax awoke to the tantalizing aroma of freshly brewed coffee and something sweet and spicy he couldn't quite identify. He stretched languidly, a smile playing on his lips, as he recalled the passionate events of the night before. As if summoned by his thoughts, Vixia appeared in the doorway. A tray laden with steaming mugs and exotic-looking fruits balanced on her hip. She was wearing nothing but one of Bax's shirts, the hem barely skimming her toned green thighs. "Good morning, Space Stud," she purred, sauntering over to the bed. "I thought I'd surprise you with a little breakfast in bed. I hope you're hungry." Bax sat up, his mouth watering at the sight of both the food and the gorgeous alien temptress before him. "Ravenous," he growled, pulling her down for a searing kiss. Vixia giggled against his lips, carefully setting the tray aside before melting into his embrace. They lost themselves in each other for a long moment, savoring the slide of skin on skin and the mingled taste of desire and morning on their tongues. Finally, Vixia pulled back, her obsidian eyes sparkling with mischief. "As much as I'd love to have you for breakfast, big boy, I did go to all this trouble to make you an authentic Venusian aphrodisiac platter. It would be a shame to let it go to waste." Intrigued, Bax surveyed the array of colorful fruits, each one more bizarre and alluring than the last. There were shimmering purple orbs that seemed to pulse with an inner light, spiky red crescents that glistened with a provocative sheen, and plump green spheres that emitted a heady, musky aroma. "Aphrodisiacs, huh?" he asked, arching a brow at Vixia. "Are you trying to seduce me, you insatiable minx?" Vixia smirked, plucking up one of the green fruits and bringing it to his lips. "Always my insatiable Terran? Now open up and let me feed you." Bax obeyed, his eyes fluttering closed as an explosion of flavor burst across his tongue. It was sweet and tart and spicy all at once, with a subtle undercurrent of something rich and earthy that made his blood sing. Vixia popped the other half of the fruit into her own mouth, her lips glistening with its juices. She leaned in, sharing the taste with him in a deep, sensual kiss that left them both breathless. They fed each other slowly, sensually, savoring each new flavor and the intimate press of fingers against lips. With each bite, Bax felt his desire rising, his body responding to the potent alchemy of the alien fruits and Vixia's intoxicating presence. By the time the platter was empty, they were both flushed and panting, their eyes glazed with need. Vixia pushed Bax back against the pillows, straddling his hips with a wanton roll of her own. "I love you, Bax," she whispered, her voice raw with emotion. "I never thought I'd find someone like you, someone who makes me feel so alive, so cherished. You're my supernova, my cosmic destiny." Bax's heart swelled, his throat tight with the force of his own feelings. "I love you too, Vixia," he rasped, cupping her face tenderly. "You've rocked my world in every possible way, shown me wonders I never dreamed of. I want to spend the rest of my life exploring the universe with you, my beautiful alien queen." Vixia's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, a radiant smile breaking across her face. "Then let's make it official, spaceman. Let's get hitched in the human way, and then I'll take you to the celestial citadel to be bonded in the way of my people. The universe itself will bear witness to our love." Bax laughed, joy and wonder bubbling up inside him like stardust. "Is that a proposal, you crazy, amazing woman?" Vixia grinned, nipping at his bottom lip playfully. "You bet your sexy Terran ass it is. So what do you say, stud? Want to make an honest alien out of me?" In answer, Bax rolled her beneath him, sealing his lips to hers in a fierce, passionate kiss. They made love with a new tenderness, a profound sense of connection that transcended the physical, binding their hearts and souls in an unbreakable cosmic covenant. Later, as they lay entwined in the afterglow, Bax marveled at the incredible journey that had brought him to this moment. To think it had all started with a simple trip to the store for water and a chance encounter with the most beguiling alien creature in the galaxy. But then again, Bax mused, perhaps it wasn't chance at all. Perhaps it was the mischievous machinations of fate, the universe conspiring to bring two lonely souls together across the vast expanse of space and time. And as he gazed into Vixia's shining obsidian eyes, Bax knew that he would be forever grateful for that cosmic intervention, for it had given him the greatest gift of all, the love of a lifetime, a love that would burn brighter than any supernova, endure longer than any star. Hand in hand, heart to heart, they stood on the brink of a new adventure, ready to face whatever the future might hold. Together, they would brave the unknown reaches of the galaxy, discovering new wonders and forging a love story for the ages. For they were Bax and Vixia, the human and the alien, two halves of a celestial whole, and their love was a force to be reckoned with, a shining beacon of hope and passion in a vast, wondrous universe. And as they sealed their commitment with a final, searing kiss, Bax knew that he had found his true home at last, in the arms of his alien soulmate, in the endless expanse of the cosmos itself. It was the beginning of a beautiful new chapter, a love story written in the stars, and Bax couldn't wait to see where their cosmic adventure would take them next.